A man is standing in a Walmart in Nashville, Tennessee. He's holding two nearly identical jackets. Same style. Same color. Same rack. He flips the first one over, finds the tag, and reads it. Made in USA. He nods. Puts it in his cart. The second jacket, slightly cheaper, he checks the tag. Made in Bangladesh. He puts it back. Feels good about his choice. Feels like he did the right thing. He has no idea that both jackets were sewn in the same factory, by the same workers, on the same machines, on the same day. And the only thing that's different is the label. That should bother you, not because of one jacket in one Walmart in Nashville, but because what just happened in that aisle is happening millions of times every day, across every product category you can think of. Clothing, food, tools, supplements. And the people making those decisions, just like that man, are paying a premium for a belief. Sometimes 20, 30, 40% more. And in many cases, the belief is a legal fiction. Now your first instinct is probably the same one most people have. Isn't there a law against this? Can't the government make companies tell the truth? And the answer is technically yes. There are laws. There are agencies. There are standards. But here's the part that turns this from a story about dishonest labels into something considerably more uncomfortable. The laws governing what "Made in USA" actually means were written with enough flexibility to make the phrase mean almost anything a company needs it to mean. Companies aren't breaking the rules. In many cases, they're following them. And that distinction matters more than most people realize, because the problem isn't a few bad actors. The problem is a system built specifically to allow this. To understand how that happened, you have to go back to 1994. The Federal Trade Commission is trying to establish a clear standard for what "Made in USA" actually requires. After years of debate, the FTC settles on a phrase that sounds reassuring until you examine it closely. All or virtually all of the product must be made in the United States. Which sounds strict. Which sounds clear, until you ask the question nobody asked at the time. Who decides what "virtually all" means? The answer, it turned out, was the companies themselves. Because "virtually all" has no precise legal definition. It's not a percentage. It's not a threshold. It's a judgment call, evaluated case by case, usually only after a consumer complaint has already been filed. Which means a company can attach a "Made in USA" label, wait to see if anyone challenges it, and by the time any regulatory attention arrives, millions of units have already been sold at a premium to consumers who never questioned the label because it looked official, regulated, and guaranteed. It was none of those things. But here's where the story shifts from frustrating to genuinely revealing. Because after companies realized how loose the standard was, an entire industry of creative compliance grew up around it. Legal teams, branding consultants, supply chain architects, all working together not to manufacture things in America, but to manufacture the appearance of manufacturing things in America, within the precise technical boundaries of a standard that was never designed to be gamed but turned out to be extraordinarily easy to game. The first technique is what industry insiders call final assembly claims. A company sources every single component from overseas. The steel from South Korea. The electronics from China. The fabric from Vietnam. Then, in a facility in Ohio or Texas, workers spend 40 seconds attaching two components together or boxing the product for shipment. And because final assembly happened on American soil, the legal team determines the product qualifies as "Made in USA." The factory in Ohio employs maybe 30 people. The factories in Asia employ thousands. But the label says America. And legally, in many cases, the label is correct. The second technique is quieter and considerably more widespread. It's called the qualified claim. Next time you pick up a product that says "Made in USA," look more carefully at what's around those words. Does it say "Assembled in USA" from domestic and foreign components? Does it say "Designed in USA"? Does it say "Crafted in USA with globally sourced materials"? Each of these phrases is legally distinct from "Made in USA." Each means something significantly different. And each was specifically crafted by legal teams to sound as close to "Made in USA" as possible without technically being that claim. Give the consumer the feeling of domestic manufacturing while the actual manufacturing happens somewhere else entirely. Now here's where this stops being about labels and becomes something genuinely unsettling. Because underneath both of these techniques is a deliberate targeting of a specific psychological trigger. Consumer research has consistently shown, across decades of studies in both the United States and Europe, that country of origin labeling is one of the most powerful purchase influencers in existence. People don't just prefer products from certain countries. They feel differently about themselves when they buy them. An American buying "Made in USA" doesn't just think they're getting a better product. They feel like a better citizen, a more responsible consumer, someone who put their values into action. Studies have found that American consumers will pay between 15 and 30% more for a product labeled "Made in USA" compared to an identical product without that label, even when told the quality is the same. 15 to 30% on every single purchase, multiplied across millions of transactions. That premium is worth billions of dollars annually, and companies have known this number for decades. They track it, test it, and build entire brand identities around it. Which means that in many cases, the decision to label something "Made in USA" isn't primarily a manufacturing decision. It's a marketing decision. The label isn't describing where the product came from. It's describing the feeling the company wants you to have when you buy it. And those are two completely different things that most consumers have never been given a reason to separate. In April 2026, the Federal Trade Commission launched a coordinated enforcement initiative specifically targeting fake, "Made in USA" claims. 3 formal enforcement actions. Dozens of warning letters sent across multiple industries. One of those actions involved a company selling power tools marketed heavily on American manufacturing credentials. The packaging featured American flags. The marketing showed American factory workers. The brand's entire identity was built around domestic production. The FTC's investigation found that the vast majority of components were manufactured overseas, with only minor finishing work done in the United States. The company had been collecting a significant premium over competitors for years. Not because the tools were better, because the label made people feel better about buying them. But here's the structural problem that limits how much enforcement can actually change. The FTC is one agency investigating a problem that exists across millions of products, thousands of companies, and dozens of industries simultaneously. For every company that receives a warning letter, hundreds of others are making similar claims without scrutiny. For every enforcement action, the financial penalty is typically a fraction of the revenue generated by years of premium pricing. The math, for companies calculating risk versus reward, often still favors deception. Not because companies are cartoonishly evil, but because the system of consequences has never been severe enough, fast enough, or certain enough to make honesty consistently more profitable than creative compliance. And this is where something larger surfaces. Because "Made in USA" is really just one specific example of a much broader system that affects almost every purchase decision you make. The system of trust being manufactured and sold back to you as a product feature. Country of origin is one version. Organic certifications are another. All natural labeling is another. Clinically proven language is another. The man in Nashville is going to go home, hang up his jacket, and feel good about his choice for a long time. He told himself a story about where his money went and what it supported. And that story might be entirely true. Or it might be built on a label that a legal team designed specifically to produce exactly that feeling, regardless of what's actually true about where the jacket came from. The uncomfortable part isn't that he was deceived. The uncomfortable part is that there's almost no way for him to know the difference. The system was not designed to give him that information. It was designed to give him that feeling. And feeling and information are not the same thing. If pulling back the surface of everyday decisions to find the systems quietly running underneath is something that matters to you, subscribe to the Uncovered Context. Because what we just uncovered is only one label on a much larger box.